Good afternoon, Rob.
Good afternoon, Michelle.
Here we have the study of percentages task cards. Can you tell us a little bit about it, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So here we have a series of task cards, command cards, that we're going to use to give the child's work a little bit of structure once they have gone through a series of presentations that the teacher has. This is a material that doesn't, there's not like a necessarily physical wooden or metal inset work that's specifically for a percentage. A lot of this is teacher-made material, but you're still showing you very, very concretely. We're taking a circle, again, the ubiquitous circle in Montessori, we're going to split that up into 100 parts, and we're going to show the child, okay, this is, each one is a percent. You know, the etymology of percent actually means, you know, per of 100, right? Century, that all means 100. And so we're giving them first the concept. This is what a percentage is. It's a fairly abstract concept if you think about it. It's related to fractions, it's related to decimals. There is some, I would say, general knowledge that the child brings. They notice when they're at the store there's 20% off of here, or they heard that 50% of the shots were made in the game. So it's not like percentages are completely alien to them, but certainly starting to work with them mathematically, you know, is. And so as a result, in my experience, a lot of times, because there's so many other things that we want to get to in lower elementary, learning to read, learning how to write, you know, the small things like that, that this is often, because it's predicated on other work, this is something that I often would not get to until my children were, my students were like in that third year of upper elementary, so like 5th, 6th grade, because like I say, it becomes a lot easier to do percentage work if you're really solid on your multiplication facts, if you're really solid on your decimal and your fractions. So yeah, as a result, it's going to be a little bit more abstract. It's going to be a little bit later. So the general your scope and sequence of working with percentage work is, like I said before, first you're showing like this is the concept of percentage. This is how 50% works of the whole, but we can also have 50% of 200. We can have 50% of 500. Again, a little bit trickier, and so the first set of cards are all going to be on those. Like, what is a percentage? How do we represent this as a, you know, as a fraction? How do we represent this as a decimal? An early Montessori work for this is taking something like 2%. Well, how would I write that as a fraction? Oh, it's 2 over 100. Well, how would I write that as a decimal? Oh, it's 0.02. We say 2/100ths. So these cards really support that. It gives them lots and lots of problems to do for each one. So this one, your basic concepts. This one is taking all. Can you represent this fraction as a decimal? This is, can you represent this percentage as a fraction? Now can you do it as a decimal? So it's taking the child with lots and lots of examples, a way of doing each one. So a couple main parts there. Do you understand what a percentage is? We're going to work with here, and that might be a separate presentation, is supported in this. Second, how fluid can you be? Do you know this backwards and forwards? Can you convert a percentage to a fraction and to a decimal? Can you convert a fraction to a decimal and a percent? Can you go from a decimal to, so can you go and you understand like how all three of those things are related? And then you get into sort of I don't know, the meat of the work, or the more interesting part of the work, which is like calculating. And so how do we calculate their percentage? And so we've got, calculate 10% of 40, calculate 90% of 100, calculate 50% of 200, and going through that. The presentations themselves are going to lead the child through the process of understanding those algorithms, and they're all right here. So the nice thing that I like about this set is it comes with almost like the formula. So this is how I convert a percentage to a fraction. This is how I convert a fraction to a decimal. So that's going to really support their work here. And then we also have, there's a nice workbook that goes with it. I think by the time children they're heading towards that third plane of development. We're talking about those 6th graders. They're 12, they're 13. I think they really respond a lot better to having, and it's not a large workbook, something they can fill out, that's on their own. And then I think the last thing that we see that is in a lot of state standards these days is problem solving. And see, you've got a nice set of problems cards that are just related to a percentage. So children take all the information that they've learned here, they've gleaned here, and they actually apply it in a problem solving situation.
Okay, thank you so much.